What is up? How we
What's
doing this
going
Hey,
semester?
on? Man, it
uh,
feels like it's been such a long time, but it's only been a week.
yeah.
No, I've missed you guys. We've all been running in different directions, trying to accomplish our own things. What's been going on?
Oh man, it's been a hell of a week. So we started our virtual flip this Monday, last Monday, and it's been a roller coaster to say the least. And it's a virtual flip because we purchased the property without seeing it. We did send someone to see it, and I'm really trying to automate and systematize our business. So my challenge to myself is that I'm not going to the property. The property is in another state. It's in Alabama, but it's a 4 hour drive from me. And so we acquired the property, seller finance, and we're gonna flip it. And so it's just been like the lady, she left a crap ton of stuff in the property, and there's just been so many new things uncovered now that it's just like, oh my goodness. So it's been like a flip-flop of in this experience, and it's also officially our first flip, right?
Oh,
So it's
awesome.
yeah, so it's exciting, it's painful, it's it's stressful, but it's fun at the same time,
Do you
if
feel
that
like
even makes sense.
it does? It does because there's always unexpected costs. So where do you feel like you're getting hit the hardest with these unexpected endeavors?
Right now, the unexpected cost came from getting rid of the past owner's stuff. She just left so many things in there. I ordered a 30-yard dumpster at first. That was filled. He was like, the first day, bro, you got to change this. The next day, got another 30-yard. And now we got to get another one.
Oh my.
So it's just been,
Can you
and this is the townhouse. Like, this is a townhouse. It's not even, but it's big. I think it's like 2,500 square feet. It's a pretty darn big townhouse, but man, it's
what
so
about Goodwill?
unexpected.
Can I ask that? Because I've never done this. Maybe Oscar has before, but couldn't you have Goodwill like pull up their semi tractor trailer and just load up stuff?
Well, the problem with that is that you gotta get a list of items first. You know, like Goodwill usually wants to know what they're getting, so they're very picky, right? Even when you go drive up to Goodwill or even Salvation Army, they say, "Hey, don't throw out this stuff because we don't want this stuff." So they're very picky. They especially they know that people just want to throw away junk. So a lot of times when we try to call Goodwill or Salvation Army, they would say, "Hey, we need a list, so we need to know, or and we need help for people, because we're not junk removal, right?" So I mean, and I'm going through this with the same thing that you are doing. You are doing with Keston. I mean, this is why we do what we do, right? We take houses as is, right? So I'm willing to bet you're probably gonna need like at least one or two more dumpsters. The last one that we had, the one that we're working right now, we have a total of 25 yard dumpsters.
Jesus.
So this is why dumpster business is very, very profitable. And some people who does a lot of flip, they have their own dumpster truck, because they save a lot of money. The problem is that, each dumpster is going to cost you what, like 400, 450, I'm
500 bucks.
guessing, right? Yeah,
500
30 yard
bucks.
is like at least $500, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's yeah. So that's what happens. Yeah, but I've been there, man. It's and you're doing it virtually, which is even harder. My first flip, I mean, not to be a Debbie Downer, I made just enough to cover all my costs. And so my profit is in the experience.
So
So
that brings up something, because I had a thought, and so I have two chains of thought, and I don't know if it's ethical or unethical. So here's the thought. My thought is, she said she was just going to leave a little bit of things back, right? And we agreed to it, no problem, because we was helping someone out of a situation. Now that we understand what she left and it was not what we agreed to, so it's a seller finance deal, there is still some wiggle room to renegotiate on the payout. And so I'm thinking to go back and renegotiate for the things that was not left and said. Although there's already a signed contract that it's a recorded deed, and we really like we're stuck, right? Only
Hmm.
if she agrees and says yes. But the fact that I'm thinking about doing that, do you guys think that's unethical or no problem?
Well, I've always looked at I've always looked at this as relationship, right? So, ethical, unethical, legal, illegal. At the end of the day, it's based on, how relationship is with the other party, right? So, um, we've complained to people before, like to the seller, like the one that we have right now. Her stuff is just still in the garage, and she promised that her stuff will be out by October 1st. And now we need to put a new garage door in there, and we can't because it's from floor to ceiling, her stuff, right? So what do we do? I mean, we have lawyers and everything doing it. I mean, legally, we can force her say, hey, if you don't get rid of this, we're going to throw it out, you know. But to me, being a relationship guy and knowing that this seller might be bringing us more deal in the future, I don't want to break that bridge over. I mean, I don't know, like $1,000, for example, right? So you have to know your cost. But if this something, for example, if it's a bigger thing where they hide stuff, let's say, oh yeah, there's no foundation issue, and suddenly you found out like a big foundation issue, I would come back to that. But for smaller stuff, and small is your criteria of like where your company is, right?
Yeah.
Are you gonna hurt with $1,000 of extra expenses, or
Right.
you don't care unless it's like a $10,000 thing, right?
Yeah.
So for us, we categorize that way. We know we take the risk. That's why it's very important to buy low, right? To make sure you're conservative, and that's really, to me, that's a lessons learned, right? To me, for you, Keston, it's a lessons learned that things will come up, right? So you have to budget that in there, and we have to negotiate for the best possible price. Because I bought a house where it wasn't disclosed to me there was a fire damage,
Mm.
and I didn't I didn't see it, and this was my own stupidity. I didn't see it until I hired a home inspection after I closed the house, which is stupid. Like, like why would you do a home inspection after you bought the house as is, after you close? That was a stupid. So don't do that. All right. Always hire home inspection if you want to do it before you close. I did it after, and he said, there's a fire damage up there, right? On the trusses. I'm like, yes. But that's my responsibility. At that point, I can't go to the seller and say, hey, I want my money back. It's what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a similar situation to me, at least, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people can say whatever they want, and at the end of the day, we are running a business, and we also need to know that it's our risk. So
Yeah.
that's my take on it. If it's a $10,000, $20,000 thing, I would go back and definitely legally do something with a lawyer. But if it's $1,000 and it's like, well, he said, she said thing, I would just take it and move on and make it a valuable lesson and not to do it again. So
Yeah.
I
And
think that's good. Keston, can I ask you, do you have a good relationship with the seller?
we have a really good relationship with her, and right now we're God sent for her. And so that's why I am at the place of, I know if I do go back, we could renegotiate it. Um, but I also don't want to, because I also do believe in extreme ownership and really kind of figuring out these things ahead of time and not while you're in the process. But this is really strengthening processes, because man, there's so many things that I knew but didn't do, and just kind of like, oh, we'll figure it out when we get there, like just take action, right? Like, and taking action is awesome. But now when you're taking action, now you got to start putting these systems in place to, because
For sure.
now you're budgeting, and you got to follow this process. And I'm entering everything in QuickBooks and tagging transactions and all of these things, because it's like I don't want to be screwed after trying to do all this stuff. And so now I'm trying to implement all of these things where I wouldn't say it's a little too late because there's still a pretty good profit there, but and not wanting to be too greedy, right? Like going from a 50K spread to now a 30K spread. Like, are you gonna die? No. Like, just take your lesson and move on. And so that's kind of what we're looking at. Little disappointing, but at the same time, it's like now now that was a 20K lesson to you. Hire an inspector before, make sure you know your numbers before, and then go proceed. But at the same time, there are positives to it where I did my due diligence in hiring a agent over there who is going to list the property, but she's also project managing the property, the rehab now. And so she sends pictures, and she is so like good and wanting to learn and all this type of stuff from the investment side. It's been amazing. Like, I feel safe doing this project over there. And so I just didn't want to spend the extra money.
My heart says, as a female being an investor, like, you always want to do the seller right. You always want to give them the benefit. However, if you do feel like you are misled, or if you feel like maybe like this wasn't completely painted in the right picture, right, with the right paint, different paint strokes, so to speak, I would have an honest conversation. Like, listen, like, I'm not there in Alabama. I was led to believe that there was maybe 1 or 2 loads that are going out. Now we've got 3 or 4 loads, where our numbers are a little bit different than initially we had discussed.
Yeah.
I still want to be a blessing to you. I still want to help you. I'm learning doing this thing virtually too, like, own that. But maybe at the end of the day, there'll be some grace and you guys can maybe meet in the middle. I think we're all humans. Any deal that's a win-win situation for both parties is a good deal. And so you're making that happen. So I applaud you for that. But
Yeah.
so many lessons.
And that's great, Melissa. And I think the negotiation will come towards the end. I don't know how you do the seller financing, but if you're giving her, I don't know, like a monthly payment, I would just keep paying the monthly payment. But at the end, once you finish the house and once you see the transformation and the price and everything, I mean, at the end of the day, the price might have increased with the market, right? So you think there's 30K, but you might have made that money once you start selling it and you see the ARV increase. So at the end of the day, it might not be a problem, and you just create a problem in the beginning. But if it's really that you have to take a hit a little bit, then what Melissa said, come to the seller as a friend, right? And say, hey, man, like, look at this, like, look how beautiful it is. We did a great job. Look at your house and everything. Yeah, but, we spent a little bit more because you remember in the beginning, you said there's just like 2 items. Well, there's like 2,000 items, and smile about it, So it's like, what do you think if, do you have some leeway, in terms of like maybe not having us pay that last monthly payment, and we'll call it even,
Right.
because we're already paying for like all the fees and everything anyway, like I would, I love you and we help each other, whatever it is, so I think at the end, solve that at the end, right? Once everything's good, and once you know your profit margin already, right? Before this is right now, everything is a prediction, right? And I want to point out that it's great that you have books for this flip. It's very, very important, right? Because now you're going to know your numbers for Alabama, at least, right? Because the pricing for every region is different, right? It might cost me $450 here to remove a dumpster. For a dumpster, it might cost $500 there. It might cost less, right? But you're doing the right thing already. I mean, I wish I had my books for my first flip.
Yeah. And to be honest, the only reason I have my books is because of you.
Yeah. See, we learn from each other, right?
Right.
I mean, I've done it after my 10 projects, which is like, why didn't I start this sooner?
Yeah, I totally learned that because of hanging out with you and kind of learning from you in that sense. And there are things that has been said that I didn't take up, but it was said, in structuring everything and sending people out. But I'm just like so busy that
Yeah.
I'm thinking that I could do it all, but no, I can't. And
Mhm.
I don't want to go over the nuggets that you just dropped, man. And like Oscar just talked about how to renegotiate, and doing it so smoothly. Like I love how you mentioned how you would go back if you did have to go back, and all of that. And talking about like holding the property and appreciate the property appreciating. And the truth is, I have honestly ran my numbers super low. I ran my numbers with an ARV of 200,000 when a property just sold in the same complex for 220, and it
Yeah.
wasn't a full rehab. It just looked nice. It wasn't a new kitchen, it wasn't a new like bathroom stuff. And so that's what we're going to be having on the market.
Mhm.
So it's like, but I'm still keeping my numbers at 220, right?
Yeah.
At
Mhm.
200, sorry. I'm keeping my
Mhm.
numbers at 200 with the profit that we're looking to make, but everything else, I'll call it icing on the cake. You know what
Yep.
I mean? So
Mhm.
um so it's like stressful, but not stressful at the same time, because I'm trying to stay true to the numbers that we ran,
Yeah.
and just being super conservative, because there has to be a backup plan. And that backup plan is, if it doesn't work out where it doesn't get sold, we could refinance and put it on and take the money out,
Yeah.
put a tenant in there and keep it, right? Like you always need to have a backup, because we ran our numbers
Yeah.
conservatively to do that. So
Yeah. Or just
so
lease
that's
option
where
it.
exactly. You can lease option it. Exactly.
Yeah. So
Can I ask a quick question about this deal? Because I kind of feel like this show is turning a little bit into the flipping horror stories. Ooh, so spooky. When you're doing this virtually, like how are you managing that agent on site to help you make wise decisions to where your money is going?
So two things. Something that I didn't say on this flip is that the contractor that we're using is a contractor from Atlanta, where we live, and he has done several of our projects for us. So because I was looking for a contractor out there, and they would go and never give me a quote, like I had to run them down to get the quote, I'm like, ooh, you're already showing who you are, right? And so immediately I'm like, okay. So what I did was, I'm paying my guy for lodging and some food, so it's like an extra 2 grand, just to go 4 hours away with his guys, get this job done, and I could sleep at night. I know what I'm getting. I know everything, and he keeps me fully updated on what's getting bought, what's getting, and so I have that sense of peace. And so
Mhm.
now I pair him with the agent, and she has the woman instinct that is now together with my wife, picking the colors, picking the things, and she's going to sell it. So she's going to give her best interest in coordinating the person that needs to change the roof and all this type of stuff. So um that power team of people is so super important, and that's why I'm comfortable flipping virtually. That's
That's
the only reason why, because it's with people that I already kind of know now. And so that's why.
There's two golden nuggets I just heard there that you said. Number one, sanity is super important to you. You have sanity, you can sleep at night. I'm telling you
Hmm.
what, there was an awful storm here in Indiana last night, and I woke up thinking about our 6 properties. And I'm like, oh, wow, like I'm up now. So sanity is key. Number two, you have somebody there locally that knows the local trends. And she can guide you up. This is what homeowners want. This is what they want here. This isn't Atlanta, Georgia, Keston. This is Alabama. So that's
Exactly.
really smart. I love that. I just wanted to point that out for the audience. Great.
Yeah. She's been amazing, man. Like I literally woke up to 16 pictures, and just like a progress report from her standpoint. I get one from my contractor, but wait, like just seeing how on top of it she is, it really kind of blends together, and helps me to be like really at peace and happy with how things are progressing. And here's another thing now. So she has some rental properties. She has properties that she wants to also flip and do. And so now having her run key on this particular project is opening doors for us to do more projects together because
Oh,
she
awesome.
enjoys working with me and she enjoys working with just kind of seeing the transformation already. And so I'm looking forward to doing more projects in Alabama simply because now I have somebody that we're making money together, and this is how things start.
I love that. Relationships are everything in this business. And if you're easy to work with, they're going to send more deals your way. That's just proven. At least that's the way it is here in Indy.
Yeah. And I told you guys that I start building in Southwest Florida. I mean, you think the items in the house is a problem? Wait until you meet these turtles. I mean, you see a turtle, it's 2,200 to move a turtle, right? So you'd be happy with $500 of dumpster.
Are you
Okay.
serious?
Yes, it costs $2,200 to move a turtle. It costs $5,000 to relocate a turtle. Okay, so you should thank God for $500 dumpsters.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. Like you mean like a real turtle? Like
A gopher tortoise. That's what they call it. A tortoise. A turtle usually is at the sea, right? Tortoise is more on the ground. That's what I found out. See, now I'm an ecologist.
so a tortoise who is on your property
Mm-hmm.
that you bought that you're gonna build.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're saying if this family is there, you have to
Mm-hmm.
pay to remove them off. It's not just like, let me just throw you in the dumpster.
No,
It's
mm-mm.
just
It's
wow.
this is federally protected tortoise. All right, it's a federal offense to move them illegally without a license.
Can't you donate it to a preserve or to a zoo or to a natural habitat? Like, won't people just pick them up to help
Well, that's
them?
the thing. That's the thing. To move them into natural habitat, it costs 5,000 to 6,000 per tortoise. I'm not kidding you. There's this land. There's this land that no one can buy because there's 8 to 10 tortoise in there. And the land value itself is probably only 25,000, and it will cost like eight times 5, right? That's like 40,000 to move a tortoise. The land is unsellable until the tortoise move out, and you know how slow tortoises are.
This is another golden nugget.
I'm so serious. I'm so serious. I mean, you think this is like funny, right? But it's so serious. Like I have our friend Jason Lombardi, right? Look at these lots, and it's like Jason, I don't care about the bushes. I care about the tortoise. Like, do you see tortoise? Do you see like holes where tortoises are?
Wow. So they're basically squatters.
They're natural squatters. They
squatters.
They burrow into the ground, and you have to look which one is active burrows and which one is abandoned burrows, right? But either way, a certified ecologist has to go in there. An environmentalist has to go in. We have to pay them to see how many burrows is in there, and based on that, you'll say, okay, well, it costs 40,000 to move all of them, like the whole family. It's like cash for keys. Cash for keys.
Cash for land.
Cash for land.
I have a question. Like, let's say you build and you got the house going, and then all of a sudden these turtles, as you're in Chicago, decide to come back and invade your property. Like, at that point, do you have to like remove them again?
So I think if that happens, you can just move them in the back, the back of the land. But what it is the Florida, like the Florida county, they will check before the permit is issued. They will check for this, right? So when they see burrows and everything, they want a certification that they are removed properly. So I don't know what happens afterwards. Oh, I think you know what happened is if they see a tortoise in there, they would you have to actually put a barrier so the tortoise doesn't come back.
Okay.
So, and that costs another $800 to put the barrier, like a silk barrier. That's what they call it, around the site.
That is insane.
Yeah. So
at least it's better than alligators and crocodiles coming up.
We've seen alligators too. Like one of my friends crazy enough to put like chicken meat to lure them out. So.
Oh my goodness.
And then they actually play like so. Okay, so you go to YouTube, you can YouTube alligator mating call. And so when you play that out loud, the alligator comes out because they want to mate. I'm so serious.
Oh, wow.
Is this like a certain time of year, or do they make
I
all the
don't know.
time?
I don't know. But at one time he pulled up his phone and play a YouTube, like say alligator mating call, and play it out, and an alligator comes out.
This is actually
Wow.
Yeah.
And imagine this is all through real estate. You're learning this
It
through
is.
real
Yeah.
estate.
This is and we and I haven't even talked about the Cape Coral owls, right? The one that, a bird that lives in the land inside the ground. So that's even crazy.
Yeah. So we're getting gem dropped from virtual flipping. We have these new construction builds in Florida. Do y'all want to know like our most recent fail?
Yeah, for sure.
So Keston knows, like Keston, you're just now starting the whole flipping game. We've been into this for a couple of years. We are not experts, hence, which is why Oscar's like, Melissa, I have this opportunity for you to join this flipping course. I think we should do it. And I'm like, what are we doing? You're already trying to spend my money. Okay, I'll do it. So this last property we got, ton of code violations. I bought it for a super great price. And I thought, there's no way we're going to lose on this one. This is a great deal. We got it for like $25,000. Wholesaled it to ourselves for $35,000, so made 10. And then the ARV is really like 135. So I thought we're just going to turn this thing into like a rental. Just put a little bit of money into it, whatever. I am at our company meeting for my 9 to 5 downtown, and I'm getting blown up by my contractor. Code violations are outside the house, presenting him with a laundry list of items that are not on my game plan because it's going to be a rental. Does it need a new roof? No, it's fine. There's no leaks. Now I need to do a new roof. Did I want to do chimney flashing? No, not really. But do I have to? Absolutely. Do I want to re-pour the sidewalk? Absolutely not. Like I want to put like window boxes and planters. I'm re-pouring a sidewalk now. I mean, the list goes on and on. Even after getting 2 sides of the house like fixed up with the foundation, which was what, $6,000-$7,000. Sorry, Cass, if I'm making you nervous. They're like, nope, you need to fix all of these little cracks. And so, you guys, this flip was supposed to cost us like, not even flip, the rental rehab, 30, 35,000. We're definitely close to like 50 at this point.
Wow.
50. Yeah. And Caroline Kane, she was the one that went through. She's like, Melissa, girl, show me what's going on. I'm like, why don't you tell me what's going on? I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, it's just, you learn so much. That's why what Oscar said is so important. You have to buy low. And so many people get into it thinking like, oh, I can just put in 20 or 30. And then they offer high. I mean, this seller was desperate to get rid of the property. It was a property that her parents didn't even live in. It was a property that her mom went to mourn the loss of their father, like just during the day. And so it had been abandoned for like 17, 18 years. No, sorry, 9 or 10 years. I called the bush house. Like you couldn't even see the house. There were bushes all around it. So
yeah.
Code violations.
I think I saw that. I think I saw the photo of that.
Yeah, you couldn't miss it. Code violations are on you like it is hot if it is flagged in their system. Because as soon as they see new ownership, they're like, okay, here's our next target. They were out there within 30 days with a laundry list of items to fix.
So to people listening, and even to me, how do you avoid this other than an inspection?
I mean, good question. You can't. Like, if you have a lot of.
I mean, you want a legal answer or illegal answer? I mean,
give me both. Let's get both.
Oscar, do you want to go first?
So we're talking about basically in Illinois, they called a pre-sale inspection, right? I mean, it's similar to Melissa, where or post inspection. Either way, the city will come and inspect the house again, right? Pre-occupancy, right? That's what we call a pre-sale inspection, occupancy inspection, or whatever they call it, right? There's 2 ways to handle it. Obviously, the regular way is to like, okay, well, you do a pre-sale inspection, the city comes in, you do violation, blah blah blah, and everything, and you renegotiate the price. I mean, that's the good way to do it.
Okay.
The second way to do it is like before the pre-sale inspection, you see everything, right? Because at this point, you should be bringing your GC or all your trades, everything to look at the house to make sure, like, for example, what Melissa says, right? The roof and everything, right? And I know you said, well, we might not have to replace the roof. Well, expect to replace the roof, right? That's just part of the thing, right? Especially for rental too. And here's the thing, Melissa, like, a lot of people think that with rental, you want to skimp. Well, I'm the other way around. With rental, you want to put the best of the best because you don't want to get the calls. Okay. So this is why when I say to Melissa, I was like, hey, Melissa, you are putting too much stuff in your flip. I'm like, you're like this HGTV stuff. How do you make money? And like, I'm serious. I'm so serious. Like, because if you see my flip, I'm like, Oscar, what are you doing? This is all rentals. Well, it's okay. It sells, you know? But here's the thing. Every time someone asks me, like, what do you put in? I put in the best of the best for my rental because I don't want to get that calls and say the toilet fails, right? Yeah. For flip, I would put in the, not the cheapest stuff, but, the standard stuff, the $99 toilet. Well, guess what? For my rental, I put in $150, $180 toilet that it has lifetime warranty and so forth and so forth, right? For my flip, I would put in the basic AC. For my rental, I would put in a higher brand or a little bit more expensive brand of furnace. Why? Because when that furnace fails, it's easier to get parts. And so your maintenance cost is going to be lower because now there's no reason why the HVAC guy is going to say, "Oh my God, look at your heater. We don't have the parts. Now we're going to charge you $500 for the motor, or for the control board."
Yeah.
Right.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah. I mean, and for the stuff that's non-mechanical, we talk about roof, foundation, plumbing, electricity, and HVAC. Those are the 5 things that you should take care of in your rentals, right? But other than that, like carpet and everything, yeah, I don't care. Like you can put carpet, you can leave the carpet because carpet's carpet. When it's destroyed, you can just remove it. Like cabinets, yeah, I mean, as long as they're standard cabinets and rentals, and you can just replace the cabinet, that's fine. It doesn't affect the structure of the house, right? But when we talk about all those things, you got to take care of them for rentals.
Yeah.
So you want longevity, and that is why it's killing me because this kitchen is from like Keston, Oscar. You guys have seen it. It's from like the 60s or 70s. We just painted it. I couldn't even do a new kitchen because everything went into a new HVAC, new or semi-used appliances, redoing the bathroom, doing all new electrical, and fixing the foundation. There was just so much money that went down into what you're saying, like do it right because you want it to last. You don't want those long. I totally agree. But now I'm thinking, well, the market's so hot. Maybe I should just flip this thing because I have so much money into it as a rental. I don't know. So,
I did that. I did that pre-COVID. I acquired a house that I wanted to make a rental. And so I did very, very minimal inside, right? Meaning, and here's the thing. I was able to negotiate. So it's the same price, but the seller would use his insurance to fix the roof. So I got a free roof, right? So, amazing. And that's another tidbit, right? If the roof is bad, try to get the seller to replace the roof with insurance first because you're going to save a lot, right? Pay him like $2,000, pay the deductible. Tell him like, I'll pay the deductible. It's like $1,500, the deductible, and claim the insurance. If he's not complaining about anything, just have him do it. Right. So I got a house with a brand new roof. Right. So, and then I was flipping it. I was rehabbing it for a rental. So I didn't change the cabinets. All I did was I did a full painting. I replaced the light fixtures. I replaced the, like what I said, the furnace, the AC. I left the cabinets. I put in a new granite. I left the appliances because there was already like 5-6 years of appliances because it's a rental. And then lo and behold, COVID came, right? And so I was like, okay, well, the decision point was I couldn't refi that out as a rental at that point because the bank stopped financing at one point during COVID. I don't know if you remember it or not, but April to June, no one's lending. Absolutely. Or if they're lending, they're like high points because they don't know what's going on. Right. So at that point, I had to make a decision and they introduced this 6-month seasoning, if you remember, in 2020. Right. Before there was no 6-month seasoning. It was like you put a lease, you refi it. Yeah. During COVID, they put so I'm like, I don't want to do a 6-month seasoning in this. I mean, especially with what's going on with COVID, I'm going to have a renter that I don't even know can pay or not. I mean, we're the beginning of COVID here, remember, right? April, May. Yeah. Right. When everything shut down. So I decided to sell it. And that's what I found out. The market's so hot, right? So I turned this rental rehab into a flip, and I spent so little money. I mean, quote unquote, so little money, that I made a lot of them back. All right, just because of what happened with COVID and everything. Now it took a while because now the buyer couldn't find financing, right? Because
Oh man.
one buyer needs to sell their house first and whatever. But we, at the end of the day, how market picked up. Now everyone wants a house,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the good thing about it, right? We and I went through all of that. Like really, I was in the middle of it during that part, right? One of my biggest flip, that first weekend when I was supposed to have an open house, COVID happens, right? And the government shut down Illinois. So I was like, everything was canceled. It's like even the realtors like, we don't even know what to do. It's like we can show the house. I mean, no one's supposed to go out. Remember, this is a pandemic. Like no one's supposed to go out. I'm like, okay, well, so I have a house that I can do. I mean, do I take it off the market? Do I put it on the market? I mean, do I lower the price? I don't know.
Yeah.
And
That
thanks
was
for
such a weird time at that point in time.
I remember March, right? March 2020. It was such a weird time where so yeah. So, but it was fun. It's an adventure. Now you think about it, it's like it builds your character, it builds your business.
For sure.
Well, I was just learning real estate at that time.
Yeah, I have 5 flips. I have 5 flips stuck in the market in March.
Man. And see, 2020 was like our best year. I'll be totally honest. It was our best year. Even the guys at the title company this last year were like, Melissa, what's going on this year? You were doing awesome last year. I'm like, thanks, Frank. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And really, it's creative financing. So that just took my mind in a different place versus like go, like wholesale deal left and right to like, how can I structure this? How can I make this work? And I was just wasting all this. It's important to know, but there's a learning curve. And at some point, you just got to get your sanity back and just do it again.
Yeah. Yep.
Kes, any final thoughts? I feel like today was kind of hodgepodge, guys. I mean, we wanted to be real with you, talk about our failures, our struggles, virtual flipping, Keston's new build, my struggle bus of a flip/rehab.
Yeah, no real last thoughts. I mean, just take action. The first step is to take action. Once you start taking action and you're building momentum, then you need to systematize what you're actually taking action on. And now you've awarded yourself the ability to know exactly what to do, when to do, build your power team. And these are things you could do from the very beginning. But what a lot of people tends to do is take that and make an excuse as to why they're not taking action. And so build your power team as you go, and just continue to implement systems and improve your systems. Take the lessons and make it better. So if anything that you guys get from this show from me is take your lessons and just improve on them, and make sure that on your next project you don't make the same mistakes.
Yep.
And we all have 3 different perspectives. And as you heard at the beginning of the show, Kes had quite the situation with his virtual flip. He's like, what do I do? Do I go and negotiate? Oscar provided great solution and mindset of like, no, let just all the chips fall where they're going to fall. And then at the end of the day, when the homeowner's in a great mood, she's so thankful, you've been a godsend, you've helped her, then let's just have an honest conversation. So you have to be ready to pivot and be flexible in this business. You cannot be rigid. Your plan will never be fulfilled in the way that you want it. And that's the beautiful thing.
Yep. So true.
Well,
guys,
take us out.
That's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Intentional Investor Show. We have at Kes on Purpose at IG, Oscar the Closer. You can find him on Instagram, and me, the Melissa Atsbury. Until next time.
Peace.
Hey guys, it's Melissa here from the Intentional Investor Show. If you like what you hear and if you want to dig deeper into your own real estate journey, hit the subscribe button below. We would love for you to join us. Thank you so much. Until next time.